Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, morning.
Yeah, today I wanted to share something that I think a lot of women experience at this age is quality sleep. Like today, I took something yesterday and I woke up, even though my sleep was not that long, but the quality, I feel good. The We call them magnesium pills. Maybe you can share something about what makes the magnesium make us dive into that deep sleep.
Sure. So, uh, for everybody that's watching, what Helen's referring to is something that we focus on here, which is recovery. Everybody wants nice muscles. Everybody focuses on what to do at the gym, but it's not talked enough, in my opinion, on the requirement, the mandatory requirement to get good at getting quality sleep. The reason why this is important, which is what we'll dive into here, talking about magnesium in a second. The reason why it's important is because when we go to the gym, we're not building muscles. We are not building muscles. We are at the gym to break down the muscles. They're getting broken down. When you lift something heavy, or you lift something or pull something or push something, a piece of weight, or you're pushing your body in ways that it's exerting itself, the muscle fibers in your body are breaking apart. And that's because when you go to sleep and you recover, they rebuild each other, but stronger. And the only way to do that in terms of recovering is to make sure your quality of recovery is good. Not the quantity so much, but more so the quality. Here's what I mean. In contrast, you know, North American standard of sleep is still, you know, when you ask anybody what's a good amount of time to sleep, well, it's 8 hours. Everybody talks about 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. But let's be honest, we're busy. We're busy people. Who's got time for 8 hours of sleep a night? Some people do. Sometimes we do. But if you look at 365 throughout the whole year, I highly doubt that there's people that get 300 days of sleep a year at 8 hours, you know, unless you're 12, you know. But
Maybe
yeah,
now COVID-19, everybody's
maybe
home.
now go. Yeah, maybe that's very possible.
There's also Netflix.
Right, right. Which usually means more TV time, less sleep
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah. Mm.
So in the end, it's a question of, well, how do you get the quality sleep on less time? And what we found out is when you look at sleep, going to sleep itself is not enough. Getting the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, that is the period of time when your body actually starts to recover, starts to rejuvenate itself. But if you look at, for example, let's say you look at an 8 hour window of time for sleep, the first 2, 3, 4 hours is dedicated to getting you to that quality period called REM sleep. So you don't go to REM sleep right away, at least in most cases. So what do we do then? What we do is we use supplements that help our bodies get to the recovery period of sleep faster, so we don't end up losing so much time in the process of getting to that destination, which is usually what happens. That's the reason why if you sleep 4 hours in a night, a lot of times you'll wake up super groggy, tired, you can't focus, your whole day just gets smashed. Well, it's not necessarily because you got the 4 hours. It's because in that 4 hours, your body did not get to the REM sleep period fast enough. So what if you can? What if you're able to? And what we've discovered is that using zinc supplements and magnesium supplements in conjunction with each other help the body rapidly get to REM sleep time. So let's say for example, last night I managed to sleep longer than usual. Yesterday I got 7 hours and I feel like I slept 9. On nights where I have to sleep 5.5 hours, which is very common, not recommended, but it's very common for me at this stage, I still feel like I slept 7 or 8. You know, the quality of sleep helps with everything we're trying to accomplish. So that's why we're having this talk, because we know most people, or many people out there, are sleep deprived. And you know you're sleep deprived when you wake up in the morning and all you want to do is go back to bed. So when you wake up in the morning and you're tired as hell, you've already washed your face, you already brushed your teeth, maybe you jumped into a shower, maybe you even jumped into a cold shower, and you're awake for 20, 30 minutes, an hour, a couple hours. But the moment you sit down in a warm room on your comfy chair, if 5 minutes later you're in unicorn dreamy land because you can't keep your eyes awake, or you're sitting at your desk and you're starting to droop, that is an indication that the sleep quality the night before could have been better. And let's face it, we're not just talking about the longevity of your muscles and making it look good and sexy. That's important. That's the nature and the premise of Toned at 50. So I'm not discounting that. That's vital. But I also want to include that having the ability to sleep that well also lets us live a whole lot longer than someone who is getting low quality sleep for many years of their life. I mean, it's still, no matter what, we're always going to find the odd individual out there who slept 2 hours a night and lived to 100. I don't know personally, that's a total exaggeration, but we do hear about people that are, they're eating on less, they're sleeping on less. Some people in contrast can smoke, for example, every single day of their life and live till 80, 90, 100 years old, perfectly fine. I'm not talking about the individuals. I'm talking about the vast majority. And the majority of people, when they don't get enough quality sleep, they end up living very, in a way, sad. They don't live very happy. It's hard to be happy when you're feeling tired all the time. It's hard to go to the gym and see progress in your muscles if your muscles are not growing, they're not feeling stronger or more toned. The other portion for lack of sleep is stress. Stress gets majorly high, which burns a ton of vitamin B, which means you got to go buy more vitamin B and eat more with vitamin B in it. I won't get into that detail because that's something you can Google yourself. Anything you can Google quickly, I won't talk about. I'll just point them in that direction.
Right.
But yeah, not to mention the inflammation that happens in the body. If you start getting inflammation in your body, then you're really screwed, because as you're trying to lean down and look good, there's going to be parts of your body that'll just puff up. Like inflammation, a lot of times will blow out a person's cheeks. So even if they're not chubby, their face will look extra chubby because their cheeks will come way past their bone line. It'll just go like a pear shape. Generalization again, of course. Now, some people don't get it in their face. A lot of people get it in their tummy. So a lot of times they can look chubby in their midsection, but they're not actually chubby. They're just inflamed. They just have a lot of inflammation in their body. And of course, with long-term inflammation comes all sorts of different problems. You start to get joint issues. You start to get muscle fatigue. You start to get easily damaged joints and tendons. And it feels like things don't work right. You go to pick up your groceries and you make a small little twist, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is, something just popped in my back. I'm not saying that's inflammation directly, but inflammation itself has a direct connection to so many problems in the body that if we just handle that one thing alone, contributing to getting quality sleep, then a lot of times our quality of life goes up and our ability to transform our bodies becomes phenomenally improved. And that's what we're here for, right?
Yes, I was surprised too, Ellen, when you told me before my competition, I was working out, I was eating, but I wasn't producing the kind of low body fat that I was expected. And you asked me, go sleep early. For me, all this time as a mom, I didn't have to sleep. I was fine. And then the switch makes a huge difference getting the quality of sleep.
Right. 100%. I agree. You touch on a really good point. Whenever we try something new, usually we end up doing what we think we know. So for example, you just said in the beginning, and I'm not pointing fingers. We all do this.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have to check myself sometimes, right?
Yeah.
From time to time, super important. But a lot of times we'll be like, oh, I get enough sleep because I've always been this way and I've always just operated fine.
Right.
Well, when we're talking about day-to-day living, fine is fine. But when we're talking about turning ladies into you, or into a version of you, Helen, where you look younger, where you look at your 2017 photo and you look at your 2020 photo and you're like, whoa, 2020 looks way younger, like literally. To produce that kind of result, we're talking about high level results. So I always want to ask people, when you're thinking about doing what you do, are you looking for normal? Or are you looking for high level?
Mm.
When you're looking for getting a toned at 50 body, recognize in today, like at 2020, November 2020, this is not the normal. This, for many women, for many people, would be considered the elite. It would be considered that next level, next level.
I see.
Because you're not just looking younger, but you perform like a younger individual too. So you're not just someone who's AKA the pretty face, but you're someone who can, like, you can cross section yourself into so many things. Your body will let you perform in a cardio kickboxing class with 20-year-olds and outdo the 20-year-olds, right? Your body will let you go into the weight room and work out with a lot of other athletes. Your body will allow you to do calisthenic type movements, body weight movements, where it's still tough for the average person to do, right? You can compete with many people who are at a much younger level than you, with, of course, the benefit of looking younger as well. So you have two things going hand in hand. That is not common. That for a lot of people these days is still a dream. You know, the 40-year-old woman that goes, man, I wish I still looked like I was in my 30s or when I was 25. That's still more common. That's the common talk these days. And I bring this up because I believe it's important to ask that question. If we want to do uncommon things, the first thing we've got to do is start to think uncommon. Because if we just want common, if we just want, well, that's normal, you know, everybody does it like this, so it's normal. That's fine too, but you don't get this.
You get normal result when you do normal things.
Right, which usually relates to some level of feeling tired regularly, to feeling maybe temperamental, short-tempered regularly, to looking at your body in the mirror and not liking what you see regularly. And again, not pointing fingers, I'm just stating what my statements come from all the hundreds of people that I've had a chance and we're now having a chance to serve. And we're always asking them, like, what is it that you want? What are the challenges you're having? And that's one of the reasons why the first course you and I released is glutes, like like how to build your glutes at home, because when we start posting your videos, the ones that keep getting the massive results, the massive feedback, are all these ladies saying, hey, how do I build my glutes? How do I make my backside look nicer? How do I tone my legs? How do I shape my thighs? Like, how do I work my lower body? I don't like the way it looks.
Yeah.
And that blew out everything else that we have posted. There were so many comments on that. Well, okay, that next to what is Helen Fong's skincare routine, which we'll get into in a future video. But that's why we keep going back to, in conclusion, talking about sleep and zinc and magnesium, because all of these wonderful benefits that we're talking about, that Helen Fong is now receiving and living on a day-to-day basis, none of this would be possible if the three pillars of transformation were not all being activated. And those three pillars are simply making sure you're using quality type workout routines based on what your body wants or needs, based on the results that you want to get, making sure that you're eating properly. Now, eating properly means based on your current metabolism type. So there's three different types, right? And we can talk about that in a different video, but you've got your ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph. They all operate different. So you got to eat slightly differently to serve your body better. And then the last part of the three is your quality sleep, which is what today's topic is about. Building this kind of body is like building a recipe. If you understand the recipe of your body, you can make exquisite cuisine type results in the way you look and feel.
Thank you so much, Alan. I thought about it today. I think the number of hours I slept wasn't that much, but I feel great because I was good yesterday. I took my magnesium and wow, sometimes, we can be perfect and you can only tell when you're off, right? So why did I wake up and you think back, did I take my magnesium yesterday?
Right. You know what? I feel the exact same way. Sometimes I forget mine too. Right. And I find that now at 42, I suffer. Like I can get by with one day where I'm not taking my high level nutrition.
Right.
And then the day after I'm okay. But if I keep skipping my nutrition,
Right.
It affects my workouts. It affects my sleep. It affects my focus. It affects my mood. Like I'm not as much of a happy person. And I consider myself to be generally a fairly happy guy, because I love my life. I really do. I love my life now more than when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to be moody, it was like, whoa, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's the best thing was, normally when people get up and they don't get that kind of quality sleep, they drink a lot of coffee. That adds a lot of calories, right? So when you have good quality of sleep and you don't feel tired, you might not want to go to the coffee shop and like drink 2 or 3 cups just to stay awake. That's the beauty of it too. That can say
Right.
many calories.
Right. Not to mention that it's a lot healthier to just sleep better
Right.
versus try to like charge up your body with coffee all the time, which is fine. Like let me say real quick, I'm still an avid coffee drinker.
Right.
I love my coffees. Bulletproof coffee is still one of my all-time favorites. But the one thing that I want to stress is that it's good to enjoy what you love, but not use it as a crux for your life. Like if somebody can't feel normal unless they have their coffee, then it's okay if that's their standard.
Right.
But then if it's not their standard, if they're like, man, I used to be that way. And then I realized by thinking to myself, like, why do I desperately need coffee just to stay awake? That's a different ballgame, because when we drink coffee, we just think it's coffee, right? But when we drink coffee and it's got the caffeine kicks up the heart rate. Kicks up the heart rate, also fires the adrenal glands. So now the heart rate is having to work a little bit harder than it normally should. The adrenal glands, which is what helps give you that extra charge, that gets drained. So it's almost like taking your car, putting a NOS kit in it, and just boom, hitting the gas really hard every day of its life. It's going red line all the time. A question might be, how long will that car last before the engine dies out? So that's why I'm bringing this up, because in balance, in contrast, it's good to enjoy the things that make us feel more alive, but in moderation. Granted that what you're taking is something that's actually making you healthier and making you younger. And to close off this conversation, folks, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not certified in those places. I'm just an avid believer, studier, doer, practitioner of someone who is obsessed about making my body healthier and younger and having control over the way that I want to look or feel at any point of time of my life. And now that I've become pretty proficient in this, I now pass this on to all of my fitness athletes who want to make transformations in themselves, like Helen. And I tell Helen all the time, like, remember, I'm not a doctor. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go check, go talk to a health professional. Right. So what we're doing is we're just sharing with you, all of you, the stuff that we've done for ourselves. Okay. Not as doctor advice, but just as people who are living, kind of like you look at how some people like Dave Asprey, he proclaims himself as a biohacker. And biohackers these days are people who take their bodies and they're able to do things at an extreme level, things that most other people might think are superhuman at some point. Those guys, they just test everything on themselves. They're not doctors, right? But they've gotten so good at trying different types of either natural or pharmaceuticals or whatever it is that they're using to see what the results are in themselves, that they can't help but share those quality things that they find are unbelievably successful for them to other people. It's like I found out about 5-HTP through Dave Asprey's work. And he talked about how just using something that simple as 5-HTP, that you can buy it like any store. It's just a regular off-the-shelf, supplement. Helps with brain fog. It gets rid of the brain fog. It minimizes that brain fog, increases mental clarity. It helps to regulate mood when you find the right dosage that works for yourself. Like that kind of information, I would never have found had regular people like Dave Asprey not come out and say, hey, try this. So in conclusion, I'm saying this because anything we share with you, I believe if you want to try it for yourself, try it. Just be aware that there's pros and cons to everything. Always do your own homework and make sure that you're aware of what you're putting into your body before you take it. Like, don't just take our word for verbatim. because that's not what this information is for.
Yes. Our job is just to bring all the resources that are working for me. So
Right.
many people ask me, what did you do? What did you eat? Well, just everything that I do. So just sleeping, having magnesium is just one of the tips that I'm sharing.
Hugely.
And I want you to explain in detail, in more scientific terms to some of the women, so they have a better understanding. Like you said, there's so much on Google, but we are here just to guide them in direction so they can look into it a little bit more.
Right. Absolutely. And we're here to help. We're happy to share. There's so many women out there that really deserve to have a younger, sexier, more attractive feeling inside themselves. Like how you call yourself now. Like you are proud to say, Helen, and you say it all the time, that you are so happy with the way that you look, that you feel more alive, more attractive, you feel more sexy, you feel more desirable. Like that matters to women. That's a big deal. And I never understood that until you and I started working together to build this community. You know, women who desired to look and feel desired is the same, is almost the equivalence as men who want to get nice muscles, that want to have six-pack abs, or they want to be able to put on a suit and look like $1 million, or put on those fancy pair of shoes and walk down the street and just look like they can rock the house because it looks like they own the house.
Right.
Like it's the same kind of thing. We all at some level want to feel attractive. And if we're doing it in a healthy way, I believe that's a big positive because it just raises our quality of life.
Well, I am happy. That's why I'm sharing with all the ladies. And the thing is so easy too, like sleep. Just go sleep more, quality sleep is simple.
Right.
So I'm sharing with all the ladies, no, it's not a lot of work. Just do this and do that. Nothing extraordinary, nothing that you have to like sacrifice so much in life.
Right. There's always going to be a balance. Like I always tell people when you're making a change, usually like this, like if this is a teeter-totter, usually what happens is if someone's not having if somebody's not getting the body that they want, it's usually because they're doing too many things that don't favor their body's ability to grow, to transform. And when people think about it, they think about, oh my God, if I'm going to do all this work, then I have to go extreme the other way. Right. So I can't live my good quality of life. What you've lived this with me before. And so I want to share with everybody else. There will be a period of time where you're going to feel like this. It'll actually be more like this. But in your mind, you're going to be like, oh my God, it feels like this. In other words, like let's say you're an avid alcohol drinker. Let's just say I use that because that's very common, right? For you ladies that might be watching the show right now, if you were to work with us, the first thing I would ask you to do is for that block period of time during the transformation, don't drink. I'm not against drinking, but the effects of the alcohol is very detrimental to the body's ability to transform quickly. And the body wants to transform fast, believe it or not. The body likes there's certain things that it has to take a lot of time.
We can discuss alcohol on another episode because we have to get into that, right? So
absolutely. So it needs some time. But the good thing is once you get your body like to where Helen's is, where she's happy with the results, well, then you get to go back to doing a little bit of this. Where on some days, you're going to have a little bit more of the not so good stuff. Have so much good sleep. But then on other days, you're going to do more of the good stuff. So in this constant teeter-totter, what ends up happening is, you can live to enjoy your life the way you want to a degree, right? With responsibility. I'm losing my voice here. Sorry. At the same time, you can still look and feel younger the way Helen does. And that's the end goal. We want people to look and feel strong and healthy and powerful, while at the same time not feel like they have to eat rabbit food all the time. You know what I mean? You got to be able to enjoy your meals too. And that's in North America, eating is super essential. It's not just a private thing, but it's also a group mentality. Like people love going out to dinner together. Pre-COVID, of course, but going out to dinner is a thing. Eating together is a thing. Drinking wine together is a thing. I don't drink wine anymore, but I used to. And I don't ever remember opening up a bottle and being like, wow, I'm going to drink this all by myself. I mean, there's times where you might want to, that's fine. But
call a friend.
You want to call a friend, you want to call a few friends. You might want to get fancy and just go to a fancy restaurant and just sit there and drink wine and chat it up for the night. You know, all those things are social experiences. So we don't want to take that away. We just want to put you in balance so that way your body has time to make that faster transformation. And then when you've got it, you can go out into the world and enjoy your life experiences with your newfound image and your younger, youthful, more attractive body.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Sleep, simple as just sleep more, get more quality sleep is just one of the principles.
100%.
Getting
Let's
a
get that sleep.
nice figure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.